Hey, quick question. Do you know all of the different chips that Apple has made throughout the years for their different devices? And it's okay if you can't, because even after all the research I've done, I'm still not sure if I have all of them, but let's try anyway. Starting out with some more commonly known ones, we have things like the A series processors in the iPhones, as well as in a few iPads. Then we have things like the S series, which is actually the system in package Apple uses for the Watch lineup, as well as the new HomePods. After that, we have the M series of chips that Apple uses in their laptops, their desktops, and various iPads, including the iPad Pro. But believe it or not, that's actually not the first M chip that Apple has used. Apple actually used the letter M for the first time with the M7 coprocessor in the iPhone 5S, and they continued to have M series chips from the 8, 9, 10, all the way up to the 11 with the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. Now, those M series chips were motion coprocessors meant to do things like keep track of your steps so that you could get a daily step count without having to access the main CPU and draw too heavily on the battery. It was pretty cool, but now it's all integrated anyway because of the improvements in power efficiency. Although, if memory serves, I believe those motion coprocessors were also used for Raise to Wake, which was introduced back in iOS 10. After that is the W series chips that were introduced back with the original AirPods, and then were later used for better Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity on Apple Watches. That chip was also found in various other products like Beats, and then was later replaced by the H series of chips introduced with the AirPod Pros. Now, the H series of chips has been improved on from the H1 to the H2, which was introduced with the AirPods Pros 2 and are still being used in the AirPod Pros 3s. But for some reason, even with there being an H2 chip, Apple is still using the H1 chip in their $500 premium AirPod Maxes. Which tells me that, yes, the only improvement that Apple has made on the AirPod Maxes in 4 years is adding USB-C and some colors. Anyway, after the H chips, we also have the C chips, which is Apple's power-efficient modem, allowing them to separate from companies like Intel and Qualcomm for their modems for their cellular devices. Now, on top of the C1 chip for cellular, they also have the N1 chip for Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Threads connectivity. Not exactly the most exciting thing for chips, but hey, they're still Apple chips. Now, another kind of boring and oddly obscure chip is the R1 chip. And the only reason I call this one boring is because it is exclusively relegated to real-time data and camera feed processing on the Apple Vision Pro. A headset which, by the way, still costs $3,500 and also still only runs the M2 despite us having the M4 chip now. Anyway, the last chip, at least that I can find, is the T series of chips. Now, the T chip was specifically meant for security. It did things like made sure that when the cameras or the microphones were off, they stayed off unless they were told to run. It also made sure your data was encrypted even if the rest of the system died, which was a good and a bad thing. Now it's all integrated into the M series chips, but if you had an Intel chip and you had the T series chip, you either loved it or you hated it. And yeah, at least as far as I can tell, those are all of the chips that Apple has made and integrated into their various devices. But if I missed any, please let me know down below. And otherwise, thanks for watching.